All right, welcome in. If you're new here, the deal is simple. We scroll through the internet's finest marketplace listings so you don't have to get catfished by a stranger in a Walmart parking lot. 20 cars today, some gems, some grenades, and a couple that made me set my coffee down and just stare. Let's get into it. First up, a 1976 Chevrolet Corvette, red, $12,500. And honestly, for a running, driving C3 Vet with a clean title, that price doesn't make me flinch. These live in a weird spot. Cool-looking V8 rear drive, but the mid-70s Corvettes are the cheap ones. Emissions choked, not fast, and the collector crowd mostly ignores them. So 12.5 isn't a steal, but it's in the ballpark. Now here's the problem. Look at this listing. Actually, don't, because there's nothing here. Condition: excellent. That's it. That's the whole pitch. No paragraph, no story, no "my dad owned it since new." Just a spec sheet a computer could have spit out. When somebody calls a 50-year-old car excellent and then writes 0 sentences to back it up, that word is doing a lot of unpaid overtime. 56,113 miles. Could be real, could be 156,000 with a rolled-over odometer. These are pre-digital 5-digit clusters, so mileage on a C3 is basically a rumor until you see documentation. And there's none mentioned. No service history, no photos referenced, nothing about the interior, no mention of whether that's the numbers matching L48350 or something swapped in. Here's what you're actually signing up for with a 76. The L48 made about 180 horsepower from the factory. A modern Camry embarrasses it. Known trouble spots are the fiberglass body over a steel birdcage frame that loves to rust where you can't see it, tired suspension bushings, cracked dash pads, and vacuum-operated headlight doors that quit working the second you look at them. Clean title tells you it's not salvage. It tells you nothing about what happened underneath. The haggle? Make them prove excellent. Ask for underbody photos of the frame, get it on a lift, check the birdcage behind the doors. If it's solid and drives straight, 12.5 is fairish, and I'd nudge for 11. If that frame's crusty, it's a $7,000 car wearing a $12,500 price tag. Verdict: buy you, but only after an in-person inspection and a look under that body. 0 detail listing means the burden's on them. 2. All right, let's roll out of that fiberglass time capsule and go look at something with a bed and a tailgate. This one's a 1981 Chevrolet Silverado, a square body, asking $15,000. And that price? 2 years ago I'd have laughed. Today, square bodies have gotten hot, so 15 grand for a clean one doesn't shock me anymore. Whether this one earns it, that's the question. Now, this is what a listing should look like. Compare it to the Corvette guy who wrote 2 words and called it a day. This seller actually talks, and the tell is, he tells you what's wrong. Everything works except cruise control, and then he explains why. The old vacuum diaphragm systems were junk when new. That's not a red flag, that's a guy who knows the truck and isn't hiding the wart. When a seller volunteers the one broken thing, I trust the rest of the list a whole lot more. The work reads legit. New rear leaf springs, dash, headliner, rear brakes, e-brake working, newer intake, carb, exhaust, upgraded 3-core radiator with an electric fan. That's the maintenance list of somebody who actually drives it, not a flipper who slapped on wheels and jacked the price. Cold AC on a 81 truck is genuinely worth money. R12 systems this old are usually dead. Here's my one raised eyebrow, the 305. It's the small block. Reliable, sure, but it's the wheezy one. A 305 with a TH35. O is fine for cruising, gutless for towing. Square body buyers chasing a 350 or a big block will use that to knock the price. And paint color, custom, plus unique color combo. That helps at a show, but a non-factory color can actually hurt resale to a purist. See it in person, in daylight. Square body things to check. Cab corners, rockers, and the bottoms of the doors. These rust from the inside out, and fresh paint hides a lot of Bondo. Poke the cab mounts. 73,000 miles is believable. and the fresh interior bits support a low-mileage story. The haggle. It's a genuinely nice truck, but a 305 caps the ceiling. I'd offer $13,000, land around $13,500 to $14,000 if the body's clean underneath. Verdict: buy after inspection, honest listing, real work. Just confirm the rust and don't overpay for a 305. 3. All right, let's park the truck and go European for a second. Top down, tiny engine, big personality. This is a 1979 MG MGB convertible, green, $7,995. And a running MGB Roadster in the $8,000 range is right in the normal band. These aren't rare, but a clean driver holds that money. So the price itself isn't the story here. The listing is. Because this isn't a guy in his driveway, this is a dealer. Aristocrat Autosports in Springfield, Missouri. And the whole thing reads like a template with the MG poured into it. Bad credit or no credit, we can help. On an $8,000 46-year-old British Roadster. You're financing an MGB through a buy here, pay here lot, let that sink in. Nothing about how it runs, nothing about service, nothing about the clutch, the top, the sync on the gearbox. Just fully loaded and come in today. And then, my favorite detail, buried in the spec line right after the color, it lists the interior material as peanut butter. That's the autofill on their inventory software. That's a beige tan they didn't bother to rename. But it perfectly captures the energy. This is a lot batch listing cars, and nobody who actually knows this MGB wrote a single word about it. Errors or omissions disclaimer at the bottom is doing heavy lifting. What you're signing up for with a 79 MGB. This is the smog-era, rubber bumper car with the raised ride height. Enthusiasts prefer the earlier chrome bumper cars, and this generation's the cheaper one. The 1.84 is dead simple, but leaks oil as a lifestyle. Real trouble spots are rust in the sills and floors. Structural on these, check under the carpet. Overheating from clogged radiators, and worn kingpins up front. $106,000 is nothing mechanically. The body is what kills these. The haggle. Dealer means there's fluff in the price and probably dock fees stacked on top. I'd come in at $6,500 cash and refuse the financing pitch entirely. Get it on a lift, check the sills and floors, drive it hot to watch the temp gauge. Verdict: buy after inspection, cash only. It's a fine driver-grade MGB. Just don't let a buy here, pay here lot sell you a British convertible on payments. 4. All right, let's climb out of the leaky little Roadster and get back into something with a bed, but a different flavor than that square body. This is a 1985 Dodge Ram D100, asking $10,000. And right off the bat, $10,000 for a slant 6 Dodge D100 is ambitious. These aren't the darling square-body Chevys have become. A Dodge from this era is a cult truck, not a hot one. So he's asking top dollar for a truck most people forgot existed. But credit where it's due, the listing's honest and specific. Interior is perfect, except one sun visor has a small rip and the seat needs a new cover. That's a guy telling you the flaws instead of hiding them. Same energy as the square-body seller. When somebody itemizes the small stuff, the little to no rust claim gets more believable. And the mechanical bones here are the real selling point. The 225 Slant 6 is legendary. One of the toughest, most unkillable engines Chrysler ever built. That thing will run with the oil light on and a prayer. Now the details that shape the price. It's lowered on 20 steel wheels. That's a taste thing. Somebody wanting a stock, original truck now has to source factory suspension and wheels so that mod can actually cost you buyers. He also says all original and original paint, then lists new shocks, new front springs, a lowering kit, and a retro Bluetooth radio. So it's original-ish. Fine, but don't pay a museum price for a modified truck. What you're signing up for. The Slant 6 is bulletproof but slow. You'll merge onto the highway making a plan. Watch for rust in the cab corners, bed and rockers like any 80s truck, and check that the lowering job was done right and not just cut springs. The Torque-a-Flight auto behind it is as tough as the engine. The haggle. Cash talks, no trades. Tells me he wants it gone and there's room. Tens are reach for a Slant 6 D100. I'd open at $7,500 and expect to land around $8,000. $8,500 if the body's as clean as he says. Get underneath it, check the frame and cab corners, and make sure the lowering setup drives right. Verdict: buy after inspection. Great engine, honest seller. Just don't pay the "you'll never find another" premium on a truck that's been modified out of its original spec. 5. Alright, let's step way up in horsepower and heartbreak, from a slant 6 that merges like a school bus to one of the most desirable muscle cars ever built. 1970 Chevrolet Chevelle S 396 convertible, $16,000. And that number, for a 70 Chevelle SS drop top, even a project, is honestly reasonable. A real one, finished, is a six-figure car. So the price isn't the trap here. The words are, because this is a well-written listing that's quietly telling you a lot. First, right in the specs, odometer rolled over. So the 84,591 is actually 184,591 or worse. Fine, on a 70 that's expected, but it means mileage is meaningless. Second, and bigger, no longer has its original engine. So the 396 in the title is a badge, not what's under the hood. On these cars, the engine and the VIN are the whole ball game. A non-numbers matching SS is worth a fraction of a real one. He's not hiding it, but read it slow. Then the phrase every project buyer needs tattooed on their arm. The interior is currently out of the car, but everything is included. Translation: it's a pile of parts in boxes, and you are trusting that everything is actually there and actually usable. Seats, door panels, console, dash. That's a lot of small pieces to go missing between his driveway and yours. Here's the part that made me squint. He's proud that the floor pans and trunk pan have been professionally replaced. On a car with rust that bad, that's not a bonus, that's a warning. If the floors and trunk were gone, ask what the frame rails, the convertible's reinforced rockers, and the cowl look like. Convertibles have no roof holding them together, so structural rust is a bigger deal here than on a coupe. Minor rust on the lower fenders, on a car that already needed new floors. I'd bet there's more. The big question the listing dodges: is this a real SS car or a base Malibu convertible dressed up as one? You need the cowl tag and VIN decoded before a single dollar changes hands. The haggle: as a genuine SS optioned drop top with a solid body, $16,000 fair for a project. As a tribute Malibu with a mystery engine and an interior in boxes, it's a $9,000 car. Verify the tags, count the parts, inspect the structure on a lift. Verdict: buy after inspection, and I mean a serious one. Decode it, verify it's a real SS, confirm everything included is actually everything. Get that right and it's a great project. Get it wrong and you bought a $16,000 box of Chevelle. 6. Alright, let's leave the muscle car project rabbit hole behind and go way, way back to something your great-grandfather might have courted your great-grandmother in. 1954, Plymouth Belvedere convertible, $14,000, and a genuine early 50s convertible that runs and drives in original survivor condition for $14 grand? That's not crazy. Drop tops from this era are rare survivors. Most got rusted, wrecked, or hot-rodded decades ago, so a straight one in the teens is fair territory. And I gotta say, this might be the most trustworthy listing we've read all day. This isn't a flipper. This isn't a dealer with peanut butter interior. This is an old-timer who's owned the car since 1992 and knows every inch of it. Look at how he backs up the mileage. 71,000 miles, and instead of just saying, "Trust me," he points to a service sticker on the door from 1963 reading 63,000, plus a long period in storage. That's a guy showing his work. On a car this old, an honest mileage story with actual evidence is worth real money. He's also upfront about what's not original. One paint respray before he got it, interior redone in '93, other work is needed. That's exactly what you want to hear. No fantasy about it being untouched from the factory, just an honest survivor that's been cared for. Electric top works good is a nice bonus. Those power convertible mechanisms are usually the first thing to die. Here's what you're actually signing up for. That's the Flathead 6, most likely the 230 cubic inch John with a 3 on the tree and overdrive. Slow, torquey, and about as reliable as a hammer, but parts and specialists are getting thin. This is pre-1955, so it's the older, more upright styling before Plymouth's mid-50s redesign. A smaller collector crowd, which caps values. Your real enemy here is rust in the floors, trunk, and the convertible's structure, plus dried-out top material and brittle wiring. The "will not respond to text, give me a call" is peak old-school seller. Not a red flag, just means you're dialing a landline and hearing the whole life story. The haggle. He already put OBO on it, so there's a little give. I'd inspect it in person, and if the body's solid, $12,000, $13,000 is a fair landing spot. Check the floors and trunk pan, run it up to temp, and confirm that electric top cycles fully. Verdict: buy after inspection. Honest long-term owner, believable mileage, real survivor. Just verify the structure and don't expect muscle car money to ever come back out of it. This is a keep and enjoy car, not a flip. 7. Alright, let's leave the gentle old convertible with the landline and go get our boots muddy. This one's got 4-wheel drive and an attitude. 1974. Dodge W200 $12,000. And here's my problem before I even read the description. I can't tell you if that's a good price, because there basically is no description. 1974. Dodge W200 Club Cab 4x4 pickup. That's it. That's the whole pitch. One sentence. We're back to Corvette guy energy. Somebody who took a couple photos, typed the bare minimum, and figured the truck would sell itself. And to be fair, it might, because these old power wagons have a real following. But 12 grand with 0 words backing it up means you're doing all the work here. Let me fill in what he didn't. A 74 W200 Club Cab is a genuinely cool, fairly uncommon truck. The Club Cab body style and the 4x4 running gear make it desirable to the vintage Dodge crowd. Under the hood, it's a V8, almost certainly a 360 or a 383/400 big block, backed by the bulletproof 727 TorqueFlite Auto. The drivetrain on these is stout, NP205 transfer case, Dana axles, stuff that's genuinely hard to kill. That part's good news. Here's the bad news, and it's all the stuff the listing is silent on. Paint color, custom. So it's been repainted, which on a truck this age usually means covering up something. No mention of rust, and a 50-year-old Dodge 4x4 that spent its life in the weather rusts everywhere. Cab corners, floors, bed, rockers, and worst of all, the frame. 134,000 miles is believable, but tells you nothing about the last owner's care. And 0 mention of whether it runs, drives, stops, or how those 2 front hubs and the 4x4 system actually engage. What you're signing up for? Potentially a fantastic old 4x4, or a rusty, repainted project wearing a driver's price tag. No way to know from this listing. The engine and trans are easy. The frame and floors are where 12 grand becomes 20. The haggle. I'd treat that custom paint and the silence as leverage. Show up in person, get it on a lift, magnet the body panels looking for filler, and check that 4x4 actually engages on both axles. If it's solid and drives, $12,000 is roughly fair for a Club Cab 4x4. If the frame's crusty, walk or lowball hard. Verdict: buy after inspection, and only after. A one-line listing on a repainted old 4x4 means every risk is hidden. Go see it, get under it, and let the frame tell you the real story. 8. Alright, let's roll off the muddy 4x4 and go find some pavement. Big American land yacht energy on this next one. 1967, Ford Galaxy, $7,500. And for a big block 67 Galaxy, that price is actually pretty tempting, right up until you hit 3 little words buried in the middle of the listing. Some assembly required. That's the whole ballgame right there, and he slid it in between the brakes and the wheels like it's nothing. On a car, some assembly required is never a good sign. It means it's apart. How apart? He doesn't say. Could be the interior's out, could be the engine's on a stand and the front clip is in the garage. That's the difference between a weekend and a 2-year project, and the listing just shrugs and moves on. You need photos before you even call. Now the good stuff he's actually got. Original 390 V8 with a C6 automatic. That's the desirable big block combo. The FE Series 390 is a torquey, reliable engine with great parts support. 4-wheel disc brakes is a real upgrade over the factory drums, worth money and worth your neck. No smog required, and clear NV title. Nevada car, dry climate, which lines up with no rust anywhere. That's the one claim I'd actually believe on a desert car, but I'd still verify it. Here's my raised eyebrow though. It's got low Pro 35S on 20-inch wheels. So this classic full-size Ford is sitting on modern low-profile rubber and big rims. That's a taste choice, and it clashes hard with the original 390 purist pitch. Somebody started building this thing a certain direction, then ran out of steam. That's usually why it's apart, and why it's for sale. What you're signing up for: potentially a solid, rust-free big block Galaxy for cheap, or a box of parts where everything's included until you find out it isn't. Same trap as that Chevelle. The FE engine and C6 are bulletproof. It's the assembly and the completeness that'll bite you. The haggle, $7,500 near, means he's flexible and probably motivated to move a stalled project. But you cannot negotiate blind. Get photos of exactly what's assembled and what's in boxes, confirm the 390 actually runs, and inventory every trim piece before you commit. If it's 90% together and rust-free, $7,500's a deal. If it's a rolling shell with parts scattered around, it's a $4,000 car. Verdict: buy after inspection. Heavy emphasis on inspection. Great engine, great brakes, believable no-rust story. But some assembly required is a landmine. See exactly what you're buying before a dollar moves. 9. Alright, let's swing back to Corvette territory. But where car number 1 was a spec sheet with no soul, this one's the opposite. It's all soul. 1969 Chevy Corvette Stingray C3, $9,000. And a real 69 Vetta with a factory 350, a factory 4-speed, and a clean title in hand for $9 grand, even a fair condition one, is genuinely cheap. So the question isn't whether the price is fair. It's whether you can finish what somebody else started, because you gotta read this one differently. This is a widow selling her late husband's final project. He bought it in 2019 as a clean runner, started freshening it up, and passed in May 2022 before he could finish. That's the whole story, and she tells it straight. No fluff, no runs great, just the honest state of the car. I'll be respectful here because she is being completely upfront, and that honesty is worth a lot when you're buying a project. So let's translate the condition plainly, because fair is doing real work. He upgraded to 6-piston Willwood calipers. That's a legit brake upgrade. Good. Installed side pipes. Taste thing. Fine. But then, removed the interior parts that needed replaced. So the interior is apart. Pieces are out, and you're trusting they're all there. Same, some assembly-required landmine we just saw on the Galaxy. Bigger one. Has not run since he passed. Fuel tank drained. Dead battery, sitting 4 years. A car that sat that long needs the whole fuel system gone through. Brakes flushed, fluids, seals, probably a carb rebuild. Nothing's just add a battery. And my favorite honest detail, he bought the hood to tell Gen Pop it was a 427 car. Translation: it's a 350 small block car wearing a big block Stinger hood, so it looks like a 427. She's telling you flat out it's not numbers matching to a big block. That honesty saves you from getting fooled, but it also caps the value. This is a small block C3, priced like one. What you're signing up for: 69 C3s have the birdcage rust problem I mentioned on car number 1. Check behind the doors and the frame. Add 4 years of sitting, an apart interior, and a car that hasn't turned over. This is a real project, not a driver. The haggle: Offers this Thursday means it's basically a mini auction, so bring cash and be ready. 9 grand OBO for a matching-ish small block 69 with good bones is fair to good if the frame and birdcage are solid. Get there early, inspect the structure, inventory those removed interior parts before you bid. Verdict: buy after inspection. Honest seller, honest price, real C3 day. But go in knowing it's a sitting project that needs everything woken up and put back together. If the birdcage is solid, this is the good kind of gamble. 10. All right, let's roll out of that emotional C3 project and into something older, calmer, and, I gotta say, sold by maybe the most meticulous human we've met all episode. 1953 Buick Super, $12,000. And a running, driving early 50s Buick that's this well-documented for 12 grand? That's fair. Leaning good. These aren't the six-figure Skylarks. He's honest about that at the end. But a solid super sedan in the teens is right where the market sits. And look at this listing. Look at it. The man wrote you a service manual. This is the polar opposite of the one-line Dodge W200D. Every system broken out by category. Every working accessory listed. Every non-working one confessed. When a seller tells you the gas gauge and clock don't work and the radio quit and he never bothered to fix it, you can trust everything else on the list. This is a careful, honest second owner, and that's worth real money on a 70-year-old car. Watch how he handles the mileage, because it's a masterclass. 92,830 now, 88,312 when he bought it from the original owner's estate in 2005. So he only put about 4,500 miles on it in 20 years. And instead of claiming it never rolled over, he says, I can't prove it, but the original owner was an orchard farmer outside Napa who didn't travel much. That's not a sales pitch. That's a guy reasoning it out honestly. I believe the mileage more because he won't flat out promise it. Now let's talk about what you're driving. That's the Buick Nailhead era V8 with a Dynaflow automatic. And here's the thing to understand. The Dynaflow doesn't shift. It's a torque converter slush box. One smooth continuous pull. No gear changes. First time you drive one, you'll think something's wrong. It's not. That's just how they are. Slow, smooth, boat-like. Doesn't burn transmission fluid is exactly what you want to hear on one. Brakes recently rebuilt, water pump replaced, no leaks. The maintenance is all here. Real risks on these. The Dynaflow is durable but expensive and specialized to fix if it does go, so I'd want it hot and driven. And custom paint in 2010 plus custom color means it's not factory correct. Fine for a driver, but a purist will use it to haggle. Check the floors, trunk, and lower body for rust like any car this age, even a dry Napa one. The haggle. He's clearly a straight shooter, not a desperate flipper, so I wouldn't insult him. Maintenance records are available. Read them. If it all checks out on a drive, I'd offer $10,500, $11,000, and feel good landing near asking. This is a keeper, not a flip. Verdict: buy after inspection. And honestly, this is the lowest risk car we've looked at all day. Documented, honest, driving, and priced right. Get it hot, confirm the Dynaflow behaves, check for rust, and enjoy the smoothest ride you'll ever be bored by. 11. All right, our third Corvette of the day. And it's like the C3 finally showed up to the interview with a resume, where car number 1 was 2 words, and car number 9 was a heartfelt project. This 1977 Corvette is all documentation, asking $16,250. And that's the top of the market for a mid-70s C3i. These are the cheap Corvettes, remember. But this one's an L82 with paperwork, so he's earning a shot at the high number. Here's why that L82 badge matters. The 77s came 2 ways. The base L48 with about 180 horsepower, or the hotter L82 at 210 horsepower. Better cam, better heads, the one to want. He's got the desirable engine and he tells you the specifics instead of just runs great. That, plus a 2016 professional appraisal document, full service record since he owned it, and the original T-top panels and seats kept alongside the customs, this is a guy who takes care of stuff. The resume's legit. But let's not get starry-eyed, because he buried one line that costs real money. Air conditioning, compressor locked. A locked AC compressor isn't a quick fix. When it seizes, it can shred the belt and sometimes take other accessories with it. And on a Veta, a proper AC repair runs several hundred to over $1,000. He's honest about it, which I respect, but that's a knock-the-price item, not a footnote. The other soft spots. 83,000 original miles, but the paint's been redone once. 2010, correct color, fine. The seats are swapped to custom leather, and it's a turbo 350 automatic. Nothing wrong with any of that, but it's not a stone original car, so it's priced as a nice driver, not a museum piece. And you know the drill by now. Every C3 gets checked for birdcage rust behind the doors and frame rot underneath, mileage or not. The no joyrides, no low ballers, serious buyers only tone tells me he's proud of it and a little tired of tire kickers, which usually means he's firmish, but the negotiable says there's some give. The haggle. Use the locked compressor as your lever. That's a real dollar figure you can point at. He's asking $16,250 near the ceiling. I'd read the appraisal and records, then offer around $14,500 and let the AC repair justify it. If the frame and birdcage are solid and the paperwork's real, low to mid-15s is a fair landing. Verdict: buy after inspection. Best documented C3 we've seen today? Honest about the flaws, desirable L82. Just don't pay top dollar with a seized compressor and confirm that body structure before you hand over cash. 12. All right, let's slide out of the pampered, appraised Corvette and into something a whole lot more honest about being a project, a proper old tri-era Chevy. 1960 Chevy Bel Air, $8,000. And for a running, driving, mostly original Bel Air with a clean title in hand, $8,000 is fair to good. These full-size Chevys have a real following, and the four-door sedans, which this almost certainly is, are the affordable entry point into the hobby. The listing's short, but it's honest, and it hits the notes that matter. Runs, drives, stops. That's the three-word phrase I actually like, because it means the fundamentals work. You're not reviving a corpse. Straight 6 with 3 on the tree tells you it's the base 235 inline 6. Not a V8i, reliable as a brick, but slow, and it caps the value since the V8 cars pull more money. Mostly original. Never been restored. One owner. That's a straight shooter describing a genuine survivor project, not a flipper dressing something up. Nice touch. He still has the original air cleaner setup. Small thing, but on an original Hunter's car, those correct pieces matter, and it tells you he didn't part it out. Here's what the listing doesn't say, and it's the whole ball game on a 60 Chevy. Not one word about rust. And these X-frame full-size Chevys rust in specific expensive places: the floors, the trunk pan, the lower quarters, and worst of all, that X-frame itself and the rockers. 137,000 miles and 65 years of a Washington state life means you will find some. The question is whether it's surface scale or structural. No mention, no photos described, so assume there's a story under the carpet and the trunk mat. What you're signing up for? Mechanically, this is the easy kind of project. The 235/6 and the 3 on the tree are simple, cheap, and forgiving. The body is where your money goes. A clean-bodied one is worth restoring. A rusty-framed one is a parts car wearing an $8,000 tag. The haggle. It's already listed OBO and cash, so there's room, and a base 6-cylinder 4-door caps how high this climbs. I'd get under it first. Floors, trunk, rockers, and run a magnet down that X-frame. If the body's solid, $6,500. $7,000 is a fair landing. If the frame's crusty, walk, because frame repair on these will bury you. Verdict: buy after inspection, and the inspection is entirely about rust. The drivetrain's the honest, easy part. The frame and floors decide whether this is a bargain survivor or an $8,000 trap. Get underneath it before anything else. 13. All right, we're back to square body country. Remember car number 2? That honest little 305 truck? This is its beefier, jacked-up cousin. 1985, GMC Sierra K1500, short bed, 4x4, $16,000. And that price tracks with where clean lifted square bodies have landed. Short bed, 4-wheel drive, the desirable body style. So it's priced like a nice one. Whether it is one, let's read it. The good stuff's real and specific. K1500 means it's the 4x4, the K versus a 2WDC. Short bed and fleet side is the configuration everybody wants. Strong 350. That's the big small block, not the wheezy 305 from car number 2, so this one actually has some muscle behind it. Edelbrock intake and AVS 2-carb, billet serpentine setup, front and rear sway bars. Somebody spent real money making this run and drive better. Not just look tough. Power everything and working AC on an 85 is a nice bonus. Now the stuff that shapes the deal. It's got a 6-inch lift on weld wheels and 35-inch KM3s. That's a committed look, and it cuts both ways. A buyer who wants that stance loves it. A buyer who wants a stock height truck now has to pay to do it. A 6-inch lift also changes how these drive, steering geometry, ride quality, and it puts stress on the front end. So I'd check the steering and front suspension components carefully, rather than assume the lift was done right. Here's the honest wart he flags. Needs smog pump to pass smog. Selling as-is with current non-op. Pink in hand. Translate that. It's a California truck currently registered non-operational, and it won't pass smog until you put the smog, air injection, pump back on. That's a cheapish part, but a real hassle, and until it passes, you can't legally drive it on the road. Pink in hand means he's got the title, which is good, but you inherit the smog headache, and in California that's not always a 5-minute fix. Sometimes one thing fails and you're chasing the whole system. Body is in great shape. Okay, but it's a square body, so trust nothing until you check the cab corners, rockers, and bedsides yourself. Fresh paint and a lift hide a lot of bondo. The haggle, the non-op smog situation is your lever. That's a real dollars and hassle problem you point at. He's asking $16,000 for a lifted 354x4. I'd offer around $14,000 and let the smog work and the lift preference risk carry the difference. If the body's genuinely clean underneath and the front end's tight, mid-teens is fair for this combo. Verdict: buy after inspection. Right engine, right drivetrain, real upgrades, but confirm the cab corners, check that the 6-inch lift was done properly, and go in clear-eyed that you're buying a non-op truck with smog work waiting for you. 14. All right, let's leave the lifted trucks in the dirt and drop down to something low, loud, and second-gen. A proper Malaise-era muscle coupe. 1978 Chevy Camaro Z, 2.8, $19,500. And that price makes my eyebrows go up, because $19,500 is strong money for a 78 Z 2.8. A really clean, documented one can get there. But this listing gives me almost nothing to justify it, and that's the problem, because look at how thin this is. Great running and driving car, fun to cruise around in, nice stereo, new tires, brakes ECT, needs nothing to enjoy, drive it home. That's it. For a $19,000 car, that ECT is doing more work than the seller is. It's the written shrug of a guy who doesn't want to actually list what was done. New tires and brakes are maintenance items, not a value story. Those don't justify a premium. They're just table stakes on a car this age. Here's the big one the listing dodges entirely. Is this a real Z28? Same trap as the Chevelle back on car number 5. Second-gen Camaros get Z28 badges slapped on base models and V8 cars all the time, because the real ones are worth a lot more. He says 1978 Z28, but says nothing about whether it's a genuine coded Z28 car, whether it's numbers matching, or what's even under the hood beyond 8 cylinders. On a car asking Z28 money, you must verify that with the trim tag and build documentation before you believe the badge. What you're actually signing up for with a 78 Z, this is the emissions strangled era, A 78 Z28's 350 made around 170,185 horsepower, so it looks meaner than it drives. That's fine, it's a cruiser, but don't expect it to move like the name suggests. Rust is your real enemy. These second gens rot in the lower quarters, rockers, floor pans, the cowl, and around the rear window. Excellent condition with 0 photos described and 0 detail is a claim, not proof. And 60,445 miles is unverified. No service records, no story, nothing. The haggle. The number's aggressive and the listing's empty, which is actually leverage for you. Make improve the car. Get documentation that it's a real Z28, confirm what engine's in it, and get it on a lift for the rust check. If it's a genuine, solid, documented Z28, high teens is defensible. If it's a base car tribute with a fresh set of tires, this is a $12,000, $14,000 car wearing a Z28 price tag. Verdict: buy after inspection. And the inspection is about authenticity as much as condition. Verify the Z28 is real, confirm the engine, check every rust spot. A one-paragraph listing asking $19,500 means the burden's entirely on him to prove it's worth it. 15. All right, let's climb out of the malaise Camaro and get back to work. Literally, this one's a working truck. 1972, Ford F250, $8,500. And for a running, driving 72 F250 with a big block, $8,500 is in the fair range. These old highboys and workhorses have a steady following, though a two-wheel drive one like this sits below the 4x4 versions in value. So the price is reasonable-ish. The listing, once again, is doing the bare minimum. We're back in one-line territory, folks. Working running 1972 F250 390 big block 4-speed manual, plus 8,000 miles rolled over, some original parts. $8,500 OBO. That's the whole thing. Not Corvette guy silent, but close. It's the truck equivalent of a grunt and a nod. Let me give you the good news buried in that grunt. That 390 big block is the FE Series 390 Drive. Same tough, torquey engine family we saw in the Galaxy back on car number 8. Bolted to a 4-speed manual. That's a genuinely good, simple haul-anything drivetrain. Parts are cheap and everywhere, and these engines run basically forever. Working running tells you the fundamentals are alive. On an old work truck, that honest little phrase is worth something. Now the flags. Odometer rolled over is right there in the specs and in his description. So the 8,000 is really 108,000 or 208,000. Fine, expected on a 72, but it means mileage tells you nothing. Condition, fair. That's his word. And fair means it's a driver with issues, not a nice truck. Respect that honesty, but price accordingly. And some original parts is a curious phrase. It quietly admits stuff's been swapped, but doesn't say what. Engine still the original 390? Different rear end? Who knows? And the big silence, same as every old truck today. Not one word about rust. A 72 F25. Oh, that actually worked for a living. Rusts in the cab corners, floors, bed, rockers, and the frame. Fair condition plus 0 rust talk means assume there's rot and go find it. This is a truck you inspect with a flashlight and a screwdriver, not with your heart. The haggle. It's OBO, it's fair, and it's a 2WD with a barebones listing, all leverage for you. I'd get under it first, check the frame and cab corners, confirm that 390 doesn't smoke or knock, and the 4-speed doesn't grind. If it's a solid driver, $7,000, $7,500 is a fair landing. If the floors are crunchy, it's a $5,000 work truck or a parts hauler. Verdict: buy after inspection. Great bulletproof drivetrain, honest, fair rating, fairish price. But a one-line listing on a work truck means every risk is hidden in the rust you can't see from the photos. Flashlight, screwdriver, get underneath, then talk money. 16. All right, we've hit the big one, the car every hot rodder and collector recognizes on sight. 1957 Chevrolet 150, two-door, $20,000. And that number for a 57 is where this gets interesting, because the Tri-5 Chevys are blue chip. Even a plain Jane 152-door is a genuinely valuable, endlessly desirable car. So 20 grand isn't crazy on its face. The question is whether this one, with about 4 words of description, backs it up, because once again, the listing is a whisper. 1957 Chevy two-door 150, original 6-cylinder, 3-speed on the column. Engine runs. That's it. $20,000 and the headline feature is written in all caps like a miracle. Engine runs. And honestly, on a car this old and this valuable, engine runs being the only thing worth shouting usually means it's the only thing going for it. That's a project's exclamation point, not a driver's. Let me decode what he's telling you and what he's carefully not. The good part, it's a two-door 150, and the two-door body is the desirable one, the platform every restorer and gasser builder wants. But original 6-cylinder 3-speed on the column means it's the base 235 inline 6, the stripped-down cheap trim, not a V8 car. Now, for a lot of buyers that's actually fine because most of these get V8 swapped anyway, and a solid 6-cylinder 150 is a perfect canvas. But it means you're paying Tri-5 body money for a base drivetrain. Here's the loud silence. Odometer broken, no condition rating, no title holder story, and the big one, not one word about rust or the body. On a 57 Chevy, the body is the value. These rust in the floors, trunk, rockers, lower quarters, the cowl, and the trunk drop-offs, and rust repair panels, while available, add up fast. A seller asking 20 grand who says nothing about the floors and only brags that the engine runs is a seller steering your eyes away from the sheet metal. Go look under the carpet and in the trunk immediately. What you're signing up for, potentially a solid, desirable Tri-5 canvas worth every penny, or a rusty base 6 shell where engine runs is the high point and 20 grand is aspirational. The 4-word listing means you have no idea which, and that's the whole risk. The haggle. A bare-bones listing on a valuable car is your leverage. Make him prove the body. Get on a lift, magnet the panels, check every rust zone and the frame. If the sheet metal's genuinely solid, a real two-door 150 can support high teens even as a 6-cylinder project. If the floors and trunk are gone, this is a $10,000, $13,000 car because you'll pour the difference into steel. Verdict: buy after inspection. And the inspection is entirely about rust and body integrity. The Tri-5 name carries real value, the two-door body is right, but engine runs. As the only selling point on a $20,000 car is a flashing sign that says, look at the floors. Verify the body, then talk. 17. All right, let's close out on a big, beautiful Chevy coupe. And after a string of 4-word listings, this seller actually talks in complete sentences. 1967 Chevy Impala Coupe, $19,500. And that price for a 67 Impala is right in the ballpark. These full-size Chevys, especially the coupes, have real value, and a nice cruiser can absolutely support high teens. So the number's defensible. Let's see if the car earns it. And this is a solid, grown-up listing. Reads like the Buick guy's calmer cousin. He gives you the drivetrain, the features, the paint timeline, and the line I care most about on any California car. Underside has minimal rust and no cancer. That's a seller who knows the first question a smart buyer asks is about the floors and frame, and he answers it up front. Rosemead's Dry SoCal, which supports the low rust story, and he flat out invites inspection anytime. That confidence is a good sign. The drivetrain's a nice honest combo. A 327 small block with a turbo 350 automatic. The 327's a sweet, smooth, reliable engine. Not a monster, but a genuinely good cruiser motor, and exactly right for what he's calling this. A cruiser, not a muscle car. Power steering, and this is worth real money. Working cold AC on a 67. Functional factory-style AC on a car this age is often dead or converted. Having it blow cold is a legit value add, same as I said about that square body's cold air. Now let me point my two eyebrows. First, the honest one. He rates it, condition, fair. That's his word, and it's more conservative than the rest of the listing sounds. Everything works and nice cruiser, read like a good car. But fair says there are cosmetic or age issues he's not dressing up. I actually like that mismatch. He's underselling the rating, which beats overselling it. Second, that 20,000-mile odometer. On a 67 with no rolled over note, that's almost certainly 120,000, and he doesn't address it. Not a lie necessarily, but ask. Is it 20,000, 120,000, or 220,000, and is there any documentation? Don't pay a low mileage premium on an unverified number. Also, painted 3 years ago means it's a repaint, so check for overspray and how well it was prepped, and more ads by this seller tells you he's a multi-car guy, maybe a small dealer or a flipper. Not a red flag by itself, but it means this is a business transaction, not a beloved one-owner story. Price and negotiate accordingly. The haggle. He's given you an honest, inspection-friendly listing, so I wouldn't lowball hard. But fair condition and an unverified odometer are your levers. He's welcoming inspection anytime. Take him up on it, get it on a lift to confirm that no cancer claim, drive it hot to verify the AC and the 327, and pin down the real mileage. If it all checks, I'd offer around $17,000 to $17,500 and feel fine landing near $18,000. Verdict: buy after inspection. Honest, detailed listing, a great cruiser drivetrain, cold AC, and a believable low-rust SoCal story. Just confirm that no cancer, underside on a lift, and nail down what those 20,000 miles really mean before you hand over cruiser money. 18. Alright, let's finish way down at the light end of the lot. Smallest engine, smallest price, biggest cult following per pound of anything we've looked at. 1981. Dodge D50, $5,500. And for a clean, running, freshly painted mini truck, $5,500 is fair to good. These little trucks have become genuinely collectible in the mini truck scene, and a solid driver in the fives is right where the market sits. So the price is honest. And so, refreshingly, is the seller. Here's a fun bit of history that makes this truck cooler than it looks. The Dodge D50 isn't really a Dodge. It's a Mitsubishi, a rebadged Mitsubishi Forte/Mighty Max that Chrysler imported and slapped a Dodge badge on back when Americans wanted small, thrifty trucks after the gas crunches. So under that Dodge name is a tough little Mitsubishi 4-cylinder, which is actually good news for reliability. That's why he calls it a great platform for a mini truck. This thing is the classic mini truck starting point, and I really like the tone of this listing. Testing the waters. Been my daily driver. Not in a rush to sell. That's a guy who actually uses the truck and isn't desperate, which usually means he's priced it fairly and won't chase you down. He itemizes the real work: fresh respray, new alternator, battery, ball joints, spark plugs. Those are honest maintenance and refresh items. Exactly what you want to hear on a 45-year-old daily. And then the honesty I respect most. It's not perfect, but it's a solid driver, and a clean but yet ongoing project. He's telling you straight, this is a nice driver with more work ahead, not a finished showpiece. Now the realities. Odometer says 200,000 and rolled over, so it's genuinely a high-mile truck. Could be 200,000, could be 300,000. On a Mitsubishi 4, that's not a death sentence. These engines are tough, but assume everything rubber and worn is due. Fresh respray on a black truck. Black shows everything, so check how well it was prepped. Look for overspray, and remember paint hides bodywork. And the eternal old truck question the listing skips: rust. Mini trucks rot in the bed, cab corners, and rockers, so go look, even under fresh paint. The "don't bother with low balls or asking if it's available" line is just a seller who's tired of tire kickers. Not a red flag, just fatigue. But it also signals he's a little firm. The haggle. He's not desperate and it's already priced fairly, so there's not a ton of room. But high mileage and ongoing project are legitimate levers. I'd go see it, check the bed and cab corners for rust, confirm the four-banger runs clean, and the clutch is healthy, and if it's solid, offer around $4,800, $5,000. This isn't a truck you beat 'em up on. It's a fair deal to begin with. Verdict: buy after inspection. Honest seller, cool cult classic Mitsubishi under a Dodge badge, fresh work done, fair price. Just go in knowing it's a high-mile ongoing project, check for rust under that black paint, and don't expect much haggle room on a truck that's already priced right. 19. All right, let's park this whole lot with a big, boaty, cheap slice of Detroit luxury. And honestly, a nice palate cleanser after all those aspirational price tags. 1967. Buick Electra, $225,000, $5,000. And $5,000 for a running, driving, registered full-size Buick? That's cheap. And it's the kind of cheap I actually trust, because the seller isn't pretending it's anything more than it is. First, a quick decode and a wrinkle. He lists it as a 67, but then says, it's from 68. So pin that down because 67 and 68 Electras are slightly different cars year to year, minor, but you want the title and VIN to match what you're actually buying. Either way, the Electra 225, the deuce and a quarter, is the big, top-of-the-line Buick, a genuine 18-foot luxury land yacht with a torquey 430 V8 up front. This is couch-on-wheels motoring, and there's a real charm to that. Now, what I love about this listing, it's a confession booth, and every flaw is small. Not a show car. Needs some love cleaning. Has some rust area, but no rot. That's the single most important distinction on an old car, and he volunteers it. Surface rust, not structural. Needs new trunk hinges to open trunk. Oddly specific, cheap to fix, and exactly the kind of honest little wart a straight seller mentions. Heater works, no AC. Daily drivable if need to be. None of these are deal breakers. Together they paint a picture of an honest, complete running driver being sold cheap by someone not blowing smoke. But, and you know me by now, I don't take no rot on faith just because he said it. It's the right claim, and I believe he believes it, but you still verify it yourself. Full-size GM cars of this era rust in the floors, trunk, and note, the trunk won't open, so you can't easily see in there until those hinges are fixed. Convenient. Lower quarters and rockers. That stuck trunk means one of the key rust inspection spots is sealed off, so make opening it part of your visit. And all original with 119,789 miles is believable. But that mileage plus original, everything means the brakes, fuel system, and cooling on a 55-plus-year-old car are all due for attention. The haggle. At $5,000 for a running, registered, daily drivable, full-size Buick, he's already priced it like an honest driver, not a dreamer. There's not a ton of fat to cut, but the stuck trunk and rust areas are legitimate levers. I'd go see it, get the trunk open or get underneath to confirm no rot is real. Drive it to temp, and if it checks out, offer around $4,200, $4,500. This is a low-risk, low-dollar entry into a big cool classic. Verdict: buy after inspection. Honest listing, all the flaws are small and disclosed, and the price is genuinely fair for a running deuce and a quarter. Just confirm that no rot with your own eyes, especially once that trunk opens. Freshen the 55-year-old brakes and fluids, and enjoy the cheapest, comfiest cruiser we've looked at all day. 20. All right, let's close the lot on the car that basically invented the fun, cheap classic category. The one everybody's aunt or grandpa had a version of. 1966. Ford Mustang Coupe, $8,500. And for a first-generation Mustang with a clean title and a California black plate pedigree, $8,500 is fair. The coupes are the affordable, everywhere Mustang. The fastbacks and convertibles are where the big money lives, and a solid running one lands right in this range, so the price is honest. But there's one phrase in here that changes everything, and you know it's coming. Has been sitting a few years, was running when parked. There it is, the 4 most optimistic words in the classic car dictionary. Was running when parked is not runs. It's a hope, not a fact. A car that sat for years needs the entire fuel system gone through. Tank, lines, carb almost certainly gummed up. Plus fresh fluids, a battery, likely a brake system flush or rebuild. And you pray the engine didn't seize or the cylinders didn't rust while it napped. Until it actually fires and drives, treat this as a non-runner and budget accordingly. Same trap as that sitting C3 back on car number 9. A parked car is a project until proven otherwise. Now, the good news, and it's genuinely good. That California black plate car detail matters. Black plates were issued 1963-1969, so an original black plate means it's been a California car its whole life. Dry state, and it supports his no major rust claim. The clean title and P&O registration, no fees, means it's on non-op status with nothing owed, no back fee surprise waiting for you. And the drivetrain's the honest, simple one, an inline 6 with an automatic. Not a V8 fastback screamer. It's a mild, reliable cruiser, and it caps the value, but also means cheap. Everywhere parts and dead simple maintenance. The entire Mustang aftermarket exists. You can buy literally every piece of this car new. Here's my eyebrow though. No major rust is doing careful work. Major rust. That leaves room for plenty of minor rust. And first-gen Mustangs are famous rusters. The floor pans, torque boxes, frame rails, cowl, and lower fenders. The floors and torque boxes especially are structural, and a car that sat a few years somewhere may have wicked up moisture. Get under the carpet and up on a lift. No major rust from a seller is a claim to verify, not a guarantee. The haggle. 2 real levers here. It's a sitting non-runner and it's a base 6-cylinder coupe. Both are legitimate reasons to come in under asking. I'd go see it, pull the carpet and check floors and torque boxes. Get a compression test, or at least hear it run before believing was running. If it fires up and the floors are solid, $7,000, $7,500 is fair. If it needs full recommissioning and the pans are soft, it's a $5,500, $6,000 car. Verdict: buy after inspection and go in treating it as a non-runner until it proves otherwise. Honest black plate California car, right price for a 6-cylinder coupe, endless parts support. Just don't pay running car money for a was running when parked car. Confirm it fires, check those floors and torque boxes, then talk.